This is Charter Local Edition. My name is Brad Pomerance in the Victor Valley today on our roadshow, and we are joined by Barb Stanton. She is the mayor of beautiful Apple Valley. And it's hard to deny that Apple Valley is facing a challenge. Apple Valley, like the entire state, is in the midst of a drought, but in the background of that, Apple Valley is trying to create a scenario whereby it can acquire the private water company that has been providing water to it in such a way that's been a bit contentious. Is that fair?
It sure has.
Yeah.
You can expect anytime any entity says, we want your business, and someone says, well, we don't want to sell to you, it becomes very contentious, even though this water company just transferred hands.
Which is also an interesting element. I was amazed to learn how much Wall Street is interested in private water entities. I mean, there are big bucks behind this.
Brad, 80% of water is run by municipalities, meaning for your listeners that cities and towns and governments run that. But the other 20% is by private companies, and it is profit driven.
Right.
And, this wonderful capitalist society, I don't blame anyone.
Of course.
But when Apple Valley's rates are so much higher than our neighbors, we have no grass left. It's kind of turning into Browntown, and it has me very concerned.
And what's interesting about the way this company was formed is that they are guaranteed a certain profit amount by, I guess, the California Public Utilities Commission.
That's
says
correct.
That this company, its name is Apple Valley Ranchos Water Company, they get almost 10% guaranteed profit?
Yes, guaranteed. So
I'd like
aside,
that.
That's right. The drought, any other issues, they are guaranteed this profit margin, and they're making 10 to 12. $14 million a year profit. So the town, I want to tell you this, we believe that when we acquire the water system, we'll be able to not only reduce rates, there'll be no property tax, and that $10 to $14 million margin will pay for infrastructure and to do the things I just mentioned.
And I want to talk about the potential acquisition, the likely acquisition. Another element that was surprising to me, look, I'm a neutral journalist, but I read things and I can be a bit taken aback, but Apple Valley has been looking to diversify its portfolio of water. And one area was looking to bring in recycled water. Well, Apple Valley Ranchos Water Company was not happy.
No.
Please.
Their position is that they own all the water. Our position is we've bought and paid for that water, so we're now building a multi-million-dollar treatment plant where we can use that secondary water for our parks and schools, our golf course. And right now, during the drought, the town has cut back 49%, over 25% on the golf course alone. And, we're not immune to what we're all facing with this drought. So we're addressing that. But purchasing the water company is wholly separate from the idea of the drought.
But what's the argument that somehow if you acquire recycled water, you're in contravention of their right to
in my mind, there is no difference. We've bought the water already. We should have that right. It's pretty contentious on every level with Apple Valley Ranchos Water. By the way, they just sold. Their parent company's out, Carlisle's out, and now Liberty Utilities, a Canadian company, is in the water market. We're their first water market in California, and they're very proud of that. Our conundrum is, why didn't they sell it to us? We are making offers, fair market offers, and it went right out from under the town and the people of Apple Valley.
So let's talk about that, because Apple Valley, we spoke last year, you were looking to acquire this entity. And now you are at a point where there's so much frustration that you are taking an approach that is permissible under our Constitution. You are looking to acquire it via eminent domain.
Correct.
How does that happen?
After attempts to negotiate and purchase the company, we had no other option. The council is, in the past, other governments within Apple Valley have said it's too expensive, we can't afford it. My position today is we cannot afford not to. They've just received over 28% increase, which is being implemented. They're applying for another increase. And so the cost of water, to have an $800 or $900 water bill in the summertime is
And this is the high desert.
That's correct.
It's hot.
That's correct.
And I know that brown is the new green and gold or whatever, but still, we need to have some irrigation, some landscaping.
Of course.
And so the challenge you face, though, is that Apple Valley has come out with a figure of about $50 million.
Correct.
And the current owner of the water company says, no, we want $400 million.
Which is inflated. I believe our figure is a bit low. Theirs is a bit high.
Well, that's fair, though.
The beauty of the negotiation as we come together. But what happens next is the council did approve a resolution of necessity, which in essence put it in our attorney's hands to go the next step. It will now go before a court where a judge will rule of the greater good for the community or that Liberty Utilities can keep the company.
What I thought was interesting is that recently there was a sale of a comparable system in Missoula.
It is part of this system.
Oh, really?
It is part of Park Water. It's Missoula, Apple Valley, and Downey. They're all about comparable size.
Okay.
Three components.
That system was sold for about $86 million. Am I accurate?
That's the value the court just set on. They're in eminent domain. They're ahead of us in their process.
So one could argue that 50 million is closer to 86 than 400.
That's true. 400 is ridiculous. It's their pie in the sky.
Right. So for argument's sake, let us presume that the court grants eminent domain and the figure is 86 million. Are the economics such that the city can manage that debt?
Absolutely.
Explain.
That would be a windfall to
really?
come in at, at 88 million. I mentioned the 10 to 14 million profit.
Right.
We could do everything imaginable at that purchase price. I'm not a judge and I'm not a jury.
Right.
Once a judge says you have a right to move forward, the final phase will be a jury trial that sets the value.
Oh, really?
Yes.
It goes to a jury.
Yes. And that's the process in this state. So I have absolute confidence in a jury that will set a fair value.
When is this going to happen? How quickly is the process?
I'm saying let's just move this ahead as quickly as possible, but probably within a year and a half.
Okay.
There's a long window.
Now, the company argues that if Apple Valley marches forward, acquires, they will have to increase taxes because there will be the only way that they can manage the debt.
Yes. Wrong.
Just wrong.
That's all I can say, wrong.
Right.
There'll be no property tax. We're not going to raise rates. And so it's just a time factor now to what the courts say, what the jury says. And I would like to mention, too, that there's a lot of employees there that are fearful of their job.
Which
I
is
want
fair.
to reassure them, of course.
Right.
The town of Apple Valley is not going to come in there and just arbitrarily fire people. These are our neighbors. These are people that know their job. They're staying there. There may be some upper management movement.
Right. But maybe well-deserved. Maybe well-deserved. They can go to Missoula or Downey or wherever they want to go.
That's correct.
I want to end with some good news, though.
Okay.
There is a bridge project in Apple Valley. It's called what? Yucca?
The Yucca-Loma Bridge.
Tell me about the Yucca-Loma Bridge.
Okay.
It's important to your residents.
Huge project, $37 million project that is almost complete. We're just finishing up all the rails and the smaller things that are very time consuming. But this bridge will accommodate bike traffic, walk traffic, and part of the new high desert, boardwalk. It's not boardwalk,
right.
but
I got it. Yeah,
the
thoroughfare or whatever. Yeah.
I don't know why I can't think of it, but it's going to go around the college, out into Jess Ranch, our senior area. It's a gorgeous concept that finally our region will be kind of moving into the 21st century.
And how's your region doing?
Very well.
It's been a tough few years. Apple Valley, the least impacted, one could argue, of the cities in this area, but still, it's been a tough few years.
Continuously voted the best place to live in the high desert.
I was going to say, of course you are.
Over 70,000 people, and I think one of the best things that's happened to the high desert in the past few years is the ability to work together and bring ourselves together as a region.
Her name is Barb Stanton. She is the mayor of Apple Valley. My name is Brad Pomerance. In the Victor Valley, this is Charter Local Edition.